Are you ready? Ready to bring a revolution to your relationships? Ready for the experiences on your dating adventure to evolve? Ready for more passion, intimacy, connection, and love in your relationship? Ready to heal past relationship wounds? You're in the right place. I'm Alan, the love engineer, and this is the Relationship Revolutions podcast. In this series, you'll get guidance and tips from me, interviews from other relationship experts, insights from couples who already have a great relationship, and other mind-opening conversations. Hey, and welcome to the latest episode of Relationship Revolutions, where this week I am joined by Claire Morton and Jules Kelly, who are global holistic and life business strategists, best-selling authors and speakers, and creators and co-creators of the groundbreaking Life Freedom Method. They help CEOs and high-performing leaders and busy people to enjoy their high performance with holistic well-being and without burnout. Their motto, business performance starts with you, your team's performance. They have also started their own podcast exploring life, business and well-being. It's called Can We Just? Jules, Claire, welcome to Relationship Revolutions. First question for you. How are you and where are you?
Well, I'm very well, thank you. And I am in Congleton in Cheshire, the very windy Congleton in Cheshire.
Oh, I'm really well as well. It's a nice day and there's no wind here and I'm in Liverpool.
Excellent. So we're going to be talking about human design, and we're going to go in a little bit into what that is for people who've never heard of it before. But first, would you like to share a little bit of your backgrounds as to how you got to where you are now?
Yeah.
Go on,
Liv. You go first.
You go first.
Do you want me to? I typically do, don't I? Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny when there's two of us. Yeah, we work in tandem together, and I typically go first. So, hi, my name is Claire Morton, and I am a life and business strategist. I've been in the world of personal development, organisational development, and well-being for 21 years. I left the corporate world 7 years ago to set up my own training business. Typically training in behavioural stuff like leadership, emotional intelligence, mindfulness, and all elements of well-being. So I suffered. I'm going to say suffered. I came to a place of burnout and was not well myself around 10 years ago at the age of 38. When I was working, I was obviously a mum of two small children. I was working full time and I was running projects within work. And I just wasn't in a good place. And I discovered yoga and meditation when a friend invited me to go to a class. And it really opened me up to a world of questioning who I was, what I was doing. I questioned about all of the things that I was saying yes to that I just sort of felt like was actually, well, you just get on that autopilot of a treadmill of life and without even questioning things. And it really hit me to question my life just before I was 40. So the way people talk about midlife crisis, I call it midlife opportunity. But it was literally just before, at the age of 40, I was like, what am I doing with my life? Where am I going? What am I doing? And as a coach, I coaching other people to find their dreams and passions and potential. I wasn't doing that myself. So it was a case of, right, okay, let me do some work. Hired a coach, started practicing yoga, started looking more into my well-being, the way I was actually physically thinking and feeling myself. And then I decided to leave the corporate world 2 years later and set up. And then along that journey, decided to become a yoga meditation teacher, as well as many other things like NLP practitioner, Myers-Briggs practitioner, a coach, and then obviously into human design and all of the beautiful stuff around that, what we're going to talk about. Me and Jules met 2.5 years ago at a speakers mastermind in Manchester. And it was during COVID that we were working together online, but we physically met each other at the event in Manchester, which was an amazing event. And my talk was all about the power of silence and about how we can sit in stillness with ourselves to really connect with the body, to come up ahead and into the heart. And Jules's was about chronic ill health and how that's a huge pandemic across the globe, and very much about the body and how we can look after ourselves. After, obviously, Jules will tell you her journey, which is amazing. And then we decided to come together as Space and Freedom just over 12 months ago, because I've got something called the Space Method. Jules was called the Life Freedom Method, or the Life Audit. And we came together that way. So, and then human design is a massive part of that journey. I discovered it 3 years ago, and my life has changed for the better with how I operate in the world and how I am in the world, and letting go of some of the things that I don't enjoy anymore, because it was a should. And it's like, well, I need to do what lights me up. I want to do what things that light me up, so I can bring the energy to the world and to other people. So that's me in a nutshell.
She said that before, and she's
I do talk
very
a
good.
lot.
She's very, very good. So my name is Jules Kelly, and I am too a life and business strategist. And what that means is, well, we change our job title every week because we don't really do labels, but I guess where we come from is we look at performance, and we help people live the lives that they want to live and perform at the best levels possible. But we put well-being, holistic well-being, at the forefront of that. And our motto is that your business performance starts with your own performance. And actually, that in the corporate world, that's not kind of normal, but it's something that we're kind of creating a corporate revolution where performance actually is found to be in the individuals rather than on spreadsheets, and encouraging employers to uncover the magnificence beyond the CV and really tune into what motivates their people, what their hidden skills are, as well as what their, obviously, the stuff on the CV is. So my story is that I've been in corporate world for about 1 million years. Worked in corporate finance and insurance, lots of boring industry types in senior leadership positions, and latterly ran a nursing care business for young people with acquired brain injury. And for 12 of those years, I was living with a chronic health condition that was driven by stress and towards burnout, and it was called fibromyalgia, and it's a chronic pain condition that is massively debilitating. And I had a full breakdown in 2017, both mental and physical. And I was officially classified as disabled, and was pretty much bedbound, and decided that that was no way to live, and I wasn't going to accept that label, and I was going to get well. And so I started about that process in getting well, learning about how to look after myself better, understanding how my body worked. And yeah, I'm no longer sick, I'm no longer bedbound, and now I help other people do the same. I think the challenge for Claire and I is that we don't want to see other people go through what we have been through, but that's really tricky, because people that are passionate about the work that they do and they're not driven, but they're literally driving, and they're wearing all the different hats of responsibility, actually stopping and resting is unheard of. Right. It's literally, if I stop, who's going to do it for me? And if anyone even thought of saying, you need to slow down, you just laugh and go, are you ridiculous? Well, who's going to do this otherwise? And they don't see burnout coming. So it's tricky. But we're very passionate about helping people live in balance and live a successful, aligned life. And one of the keys to that is understanding your human design. We qualified in lots of different modalities. So when we say we're holistic coaches, we really are. Between us, we create a full human design. So from an energetic flow point of view, we've got everything covered there, but we've also got some amazing modalities that we use together. And each of them is the cherry on top of the cake. But human design for us is the lining paper of the cake tin. It literally gives us the foundation from which we're working, coupled with the person. And it allows us to start exploring the person beneath what they show us, beneath what we vocalize, but it really helps us guide that conversation.
Excellent. So there's a couple of things I've noticed from both of you. Firstly, the obvious one, human design, and the other is you both mentioned burnout. How would you define burnout? What does it look like?
Well, for me, burnout was complete breakdown. For me, burnout was running a million miles an hour, doing all the things, working mum, wife, husband was having a nervous breakdown, having to keep all the plates spinning, keep a roof over our head, painting on the smile every single morning, walking out, and then as soon as I got back, it all slips and you literally sleep or snap at the kids, or it's like Groundhog Day. And your body starts to speak to you, things start to hurt, you become unwell slowly but surely. And you put that down to your body failing you, but actually what's happening is you're failing your body. And yeah, it can get out of hand. It can get out of hand, and it did for me. And for me, it was full on breakdown. It wasn't pretty. And I wouldn't want anyone to have to experience that. But there are different versions of it. And I guess Claire's version is slightly different because she caught it before she got to that point.
Yeah, for me, at the time, didn't, and then going back to, you don't realise that you're heading for it because you just carry on. And I think in this modern world, I mean, the studies that we've looked at, it's like 70% of doctors' visits are down to modern day stress. Because we are constantly going from one thing to another. So from, getting up, going to work, maybe dropping the kids off at school or caring for someone, then you're going into work, then you've got reports to do, then you're on your computer all day, then you might be in delivery, and then it's back home, then you're making the dinner, then you've got the housework to do, then you might want to go to the gym because you feel like you need to go to the gym because that's good for. So for me, I was just constantly on that treadmill, and yes, constantly saying yes to projects because I'd get them done. So the more work that you typically do, the more work that you get given because you're reliable. And I was a people pleaser, but the brain fog started to set in. Nothing I did not have the capacity to manage everything in the end, and it was like I felt like I was going mad. And then the physical pains, like shoulder pain because you hunched over the laptop, the lack of breathing that I was doing. Just if you ever catch yourself when you're at the laptop and noticing your breathing, just it affects the whole nervous system. And then it was a case of, I caught it because I came home one night and I shouted at the kids, and I really shouted at them because I'd walked through the door. They were only toddlers after, and they were like, "Mummy, hello!" And it was like, "Hello, I need to get to the desk, and I need to get the laptop because I've got stuff to do." And then he went, "What's for dinner? What's for dinner?" And it was just like, "Oh my God, just go away!" And then Mark, my husband, was there, and he said to me, "Claire, what are you doing?" He said, "You've literally just stepped through the door. It's 7:00. You're getting the laptop home, and the kids want to say hello to you." And I was like, "Yeah, floods of tears. What am I doing? This isn't right." I mean, I felt really sad, and sad that I'd let myself get to this stage, but I sat with that, obviously, and worked through it, and then thought, this has got to change. And then that's when yoga and meditation really worked for me to allow me to stop and go within. And even with yoga, you'll find out a bit more about human design in a minute, but I didn't know I was a generator in my human design 10 years ago. Now I know it makes sense because with yoga, I'm still moving, but I'm in stillness with the watching the thoughts, and I'm connecting the mind and body. So yoga for me as a movement really works for me to slow down, rather than a big, fast workout at the gym all of the time, because that was burning me out too. So yeah, I caught it before it got to the point of where Jules got to. And a lot of us don't realise it until you literally hit the wall and stop, and the body says no. The body literally cannot physically work anymore, and we have to realise that the body can do the best it can do for what we're doing to it and what we're giving it. So you've really got to see I know Jules talked about this really well, around that we see the head and the body as separate, when if you look at us as a whole person and holistically, it's one thing. And the brain and the heart and the gut are all connected. So we have to look at the body as one thing, not a head and a body. So mental health is also emotional health, it's also physical health, it's the whole thing around well-being.
Yeah, and that's something that's, for me, is severely overlooked with the medical model. You either have your physical health or your mental health, but how often does your mental and emotional health improve when you go to the gym and have a workout? A lot of the time it's got nothing to do with fitness, it's because you want to feel good. Because everything is connected.
Absolutely.
So, for people who may be listening or watching that have never heard the term human design, and I'll put my hands up and say, the first time I heard it, I had no idea what it meant. I thought it was where you go to the doctor, both your parents go to the doctors and they kind of pick the best egg they can find and the best sperm they can find and sort of marry the two up, sort of thing. But it's nothing like that, is it?
No. I love that.
So,
I love that where that, the title human design is taking you, because it can take you anywhere if you don't know what it is. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I'm an engineer. I've got a very engineering mindset and a lot of engineering training, so that to me is naturally where it goes. So
my dad's an engineer too, and he said it's bloody mumbo jumbo. And I go, yeah. With human design is a synthesis of ancient philosophies, quantum physics, astrology, lots of good stuff. It's a science of differentiation and also the science of the aura. And that sounds, for people that aren't in our world, that sounds a bit out there. But ultimately, it takes a lot of different philosophies and layers them to give us a blueprint, really, of who we were always designed to be, what we were here to experience in this lifetime. So we work on the premise that our soul, it lives for a very long time, but we are born into this lifetime. So in this lifetime, I'm Jules and I'm here as a female human right now. And it is based on where and when you were born and the time and place you were born. And the where the planets were aligned at that time is one of the key things for it. And then that basically gives us something called a body graph chart, which maps out our personality traits, it maps out our skills, our superpowers, our areas for wisdom, our life purpose, our motivation, our willpower, all of that in one page, which is, when I first saw it, I was like, what's this about? And the mad thing was that I found this out at age 50. So it was 3 years ago. And I am actually, at 50, I was living my life purpose then. But my design is my design, right? And it was created, created 3 months before I was born. So this was created in January 19. So in 2020, I was living the design that had been mapped out for me in January 1970, which just blew me away, to be honest. I just thought, well, hang on a minute, how did it know that? And then every person that we run a report for, we haven't met anybody yet that isn't aligned with their true design. There is so much information in there, and we're really passionate about delivering it in a really empowered way, because the stuff that you find on the internet can be really disempowering. And we've had people come to us after they've been diving around the internet reading stuff, and they feel really disempowered by what it tells them, what they find and what it tells them. And actually, we don't believe that it's there to disempower. We believe it's absolutely there to empower you and to give you clarity, direction, support, and really helps with performance. It helps in all aspects of life. It helps you live more in alignment with what you want to do, what you choose to do. We banish the word should into room 101 because we move away from obligation, we move away from the stuff that we should do, and we really start feeling into the answers to the questions that we have, because it goes against everything that society teaches us. There's only like 2% of the population that should make decisions with their head. The rest of us should make decisions with our body. And obviously that's not what we're taught. We're all taught to be all of the things to all of the people all of the time. And human design works on the premise that we all have a role to play, and we're born into one of 5 types. And if we were all knew that and all lived within our strategy and authority and design, then life would be really fabulous. So yeah, that's the main part of it. Would you like me to go into the types?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we use making a film as the analogy for this. So we're born into 5 types, and it starts with the manifestor. So the manifestor is here to initiate and to inform. So if we were making a movie, this would be the film producer that says, I've got this brilliant idea and we're going to make this film. And that manifestor relies on the right people hearing them, because they're not there to do the work, they're just here to initiate it. And then we have the generators, so Claire's a generator, and the manifesting generators, and we're here to respond to life. So we are here in the film analogy to respond to the director, to the producer, to say, we love the idea for the film, our sacral energy is lit up by that, and so we're going to help you make the film. So we play the role of the lights, the camera, the action. We're the builders, the alchemists, we make things happen, and there's 66% of us through the world. And then we have the projectors, and Alan, you're a projector. And the projectors are our high flying birds, our seers. They're here, they see life differently. They have a helicopter view of what's going on. And in the film analogy, they will be the film director. Now they're here to be invited and recognised to share their brilliance. And they are here to make life better for the things that light them up. And then the last group are the reflectors, and there's only 1% of reflectors in the world, and they are here to experience all of what life has to offer. And in the film analogy, they would be the film critic. So they would come and sit and experience the film in all of its glory, and they would either be really excited by it and love it or really hate it. And they are the film critic. And they're the 5 roles. And they all have their own guidelines. They all have their own framework. And by following those frameworks means stepping out of what society expects and what our conditioning maybe has brought us. And what it gives us is the space to be who we were always supposed to be.
Interesting. So what would happen to the way society works if somebody's human design was revealed and talked about at birth, and the education system could then tailor the education to that design?
How amazing would that be, right? So our society now has, in human design theory, we live in paradigms, right? And we've been in this paradigm for a very long time, and we're straddling a new paradigm now that's coming in 2027. So the paradigm that we're in now is about building and creating life so that we can live and build and manage life on this earth, which we've done to that point where we're now destroying the earth that we're living on. But we're moving, so human design theory shows us moving into 2027 to move from being driven by fear and staying alive to more about what feels good. So we're stepping into what feels right. And actually, we know how to live, but do we want to live that way? What feels good to us? So we're stepping into that more feminine paradigm. And we're not saying that the masculinity is a problem at all, because the masculine helps us to get shit done. And we all have masculine and feminine, right? So masculinity sometimes gets a bad rap, but not at all. The challenge that we have as a society now is that we're all doing and very little being. So we're human doings, not beings. And the system that we've that's been created sticks us all in a box. So we're all in the box. We get born, we get put into school at 5, we get churned out again at 16, 17, and we all get taught the same way in the same syllabus. Some of us don't do well based on what society expects, and some of us do. But we're all individuals, right? And so I'll use my daughter as an example. She's a manifestor. She's not here to be spoken at for 6.5 hours in a classroom. She's not. She never has been. And all the way through school, rather than being allowed to embrace her amazingness, she was just made to feel thick, because she's not designed to recall information. Because that's all we do. We taught stuff and then we've got to write it on a paper. We got recall the information, and that's how we are assessed. She wasn't designed that way. And so for her, the whole system doesn't work. And she spent from 5 to 17 ticking boxes.
Yeah.
So if we do it differently, then we recognise that there's probably about 30% of our population that do not fit into that mould, right? And actually, if we knew that, so you're a projector, right? So projectors have to be invited or recognised. So there will be a lot of projectors in the school system that are sat on the periphery of the school system, waiting to be asked to play in the playground, waiting to be asked to join in, not necessarily feeling comfortable speaking out, or speaking out too much so that you feel like you're the nerd, or you looked at, oh God, here he is again, answering all the questions, because that's the way you're designed, right? And the kids that aren't engaged because they're not designed to be spoken at, well, maybe there's a different way for them to be able to be engaged with. And we're really passionate about it, because most of the kids that we personally know that have struggled in school are manifestors. And it's quite an easy fix. But again, it doesn't fit into the modules. So again, looking at us as individuals, looking at each child as an individual. I remember going to a parent evening actually, and Grace must have been about 5 or 6, like really early days. And the teacher said, well, we're a bit worried about you, if we're honest. And I say, okay. And I said, what is it? She said, well, when we start talking about the Tudors, she just glosses over. And I went, are you surprised? Like, seriously? She's a 5-year-old girl that likes glitter and pink, and you're talking about Tudor. I said, have you talked about the fashion or this, that and the other, or have you given her any responsibilities you've done? Then they went, no, we didn't think. We've got lots of boys in our class. And I went, well, she's not one of them. And the day after, they went, oh, we've been thinking about what you said, and you're right. It's just that we've got so much curriculum to cover. I'm like, so Claire and I are really passionate about our kids being allowed to be individuals and get the support. We're also mindful that there's a system, and it takes a long time to turn that juggernaut round. So all we can do is plant the seeds.
I think my first parents' evening when I was in junior school, when my parents went in, the teacher sat there and says, I'm a bit concerned about Alan. Can he actually speak? Yeah, he speaks all the time. Well, he's not said anything all term.
Yep.
And
I met one woman once, Alan, that was the same. She was a projector, and they thought they didn't think she could speak. Like, literally didn't think she could speak, because no one ever asked her anything at home as well.
And I think part of my issue with that teacher was in nursery school, you got this young, pretty, friendly teacher, and then you go up to the junior school, and the teacher's kind of a blend of the Wicked Witch of the West and Margaret Thatcher.
Mrs. Trunchbull.
And very much so, yeah. You sat there and think...
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? And the thing is that our kids, they're our future, and things are changing. Things have got to change. Claire's in the same boat, aren't you, Claire, with your daughter as well?
Yeah. Again, I'm just so happy that I've found something, because I've used something called Myers-Briggs personality profiling for the last 18 years, and it's based on psychology from the work of Carl Jung, and it's been changed over the years, and it's an amazing tool. And the psychological archetypes are part of human design, so human design is even more powerful than the personality profilings out there. And I have been using it with my children, and I've got a daughter who's a generator. I'm a generator. She's got a 3-5 profile. She's so similar to me. But when you look at the actual chart and the centers, we've got different open and undefined centers. So even though we're classed as the same type, there's a deeper element to the way my daughter operates. And looking at my son and my husband's, they they're quite similar to their manifesting generators, but they just don't understand Daniela because she's really different. A little bit, as you would say, class as geeky, but she's very empathetic. She really feels other people's. She feels bad when she can see other people feeling bad, or she just feels other people's emotions as well as her own. And this is not, when she joined secondary school last year, she's really struggled with it, with a new environment. And so we've been working with her. Obviously, she's been working with Jules, and I was lucky enough to hire a life coach for 6 weeks because she needed someone outside of her family and not just a mom helping her, because I wanted her to explore. And my husband was saying to me, just tell her to fit in, just tell her to just go in. She just needs to fit in with the other girls, and then it'll all be fine when she finishes secondary school. She can go along the way. And he's saying this from a place that he just doesn't want her to feel left out. He doesn't want her to be, it's breaking his heart to see her so sad and feeling on the outskirts of everything. And I said, no, I said, that goes against exactly everything that I'm doing with me and the clients. I'm not teaching her to fit into something. I want her to be herself, so that she attracts the right real friends in who know who she is for what she is, because she's a lovely human being, and that's what all of us are. But we're conditioned to fit in, or to say, that agree with things. And if they just allow people to be who they are and express themselves, if they're not doing you any harm and they're coming from a good place, just allow people to. But society doesn't let that happen right now. It's changing, and she's definitely better. And it's a lot. My husband, who is he's in the IT world, and he's quite logical. But it's really, when we looked at his human design, he does make decisions emotionally, but he was trying to look at things logically, and it wasn't making sense to why she was the way she was. But now he's seen a change in her behaviour, because we've gone with the roots of understanding her, and she's shining better now. She's the true generator. She's got the energy. She's coming to the party. She's attracted in new friends, very similar to her, and she's shining again. So he's on, oh my God, this does actually work, doesn't it? And I said, yeah, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And that's why it's part of the life freedom method, which is a clinically proven, science proven program that we've got. So yeah, it's starting to change, and it definitely, I love your idea of when kids are born and taking it from there into
just understanding that each of us is very, very different, and how we perceive the world is based on our own experiences, and each of our experiences are different. We've all got different mums and dads who've also got different experiences and different cultural and different DNA and all the rest of it. And it's having that appreciation. No one's wrong, but the system doesn't treat us like the individuals that we are.
Yeah, it's designed to create human beings that fit in a box.
I feel like another brick in the wall, a bit of Pink Floyd coming on there, Alan. Literally just we're just a machine, right?
Yeah, very much so. But then a lot of the system was created by in the industrial age by companies who wanted to create good employees.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same, isn't it? But for now, I think we just want to create really good human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So is there any correlation between things like ADHD, ADD, autism, and human design? Because when I was a kid, I don't remember hearing any of those terms, and now they're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a look at your design quick. They are everywhere.
It's labels, isn't it, again, to make sense of the world. And we do talk about labels quite a lot, and about how we do need to label things to help us make sense of the world. However, not taking those labels as gospel type thing. And even with human design, yes, there's a name to it and there's a label, but again, it's deeper than that, and it's very much around questioning things. But yeah, Jules will explain to you about the ADHD thing. And
well, we got a client with it. She looked at her report and she just went, well, this isn't ADHD, this is just the way I'm made. This is just the way I'm designed. Absolutely. It's about understanding your individuality. But there's a whole nother topic on there, and about on understanding it to the medicines and the system. Again, we go down this mental health road, and I hate the word syndromes, but and conditions, that they're part of a human makeup, right? And there are lots of different thoughts on this, but a lot of people, for me, there is correlation between their designs and these labels, for sure. Absolutely.
Interesting. So one of the reasons I wanted to get you on was to talk about some human design and how that affects us in our relationships. And you've kindly allowed me to use myself and my girlfriend as a guinea pig to highlight how these things can interact and how the human design knowledge can improve relationships.
Well, I think relationships on a whole, as well as love relationships, I think, Alan, as well, just by understanding the different types to start with is really helpful. And then understanding how we're designed to show up in the world. So, as we said before, manifestors are here to initiate and to inform. And so trying to tell a manifestor what to do doesn't work. So again, if you've got a partner that's a manifestor and they're not listening to what you're saying because they've got other ideas, and that might be why. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with them. That's just the way that they are.
It's not just because he's a man, then.
No, because there's lots of ladies like that as well. And then also you've got the generators, the manifesting generators, they have to be lit up by what they're doing. They have to, otherwise they don't create energy, and they're here to respond to life. So if you're waiting for them to initiate, then you may be waiting a long time. And then obviously you've got the projectors, who are here to be recognized and invited. So you just said it yourself, the teacher said, does he actually speak? So if you are on a dating site, or you're trying to communicate with somebody that's a projector, to know that they need to be recognized and invited to speak is vital, right? Absolutely vital. So that those key things are important. And also understanding what your profile is. So there are different profiles. There are 6 of them, and I can go through those briefly. But also, have you got a copy of your human design chart there, Alan? I don't know whether you can share a screen.
No, I can share a screen if you want to quickly zap it over.
Okay. So there are a few things. So this is your body graph chart that Claire's showing us here. And if you're listening, it's basically the 7 chakra system that's then the 6 chakras split into 9. So what you've got there is the head center at the top. And then that's the center for ideas, inspiration. And then the ajna at the next one down, the third eye, that's the center for opinions and points of view. And also our processing center. And then you've got the throat center, which is the center for communication and manifestation. And then the next one down is called the G center, and that's the center for purpose, identity, self. And then to the right, you've got a little heart center. That's either called the heart center, the will center, or the ego center. And that's the center for willpower, motivation, and the center of resource. And it's also the energy bank. And then you've got, that's where Claire's pointing now, to the right, that's the emotional solar plexus. So that controls emotions and feelings. And then to the center is the sacral. And that is the sacral center is the home of sexual power. It's the home of creation and creativity. Everything is born starts off with the sacral. And then to the left of that, we've got the splenic center, which is the center for fear, vitality, and the immune system. And then right at the bottom, we've got the root center, which is the center for grounding, the center for trusting divine timing. And it's also got kickstart energy to start things off. Okay, so all of this that we're showing you here in this chart is in human design as a whole. What the design is looking for or what the chart is looking for is completion, so that flow can happen more easily. And so for you will attract people that see how you've got the blue ones, the blue coloured in shapes, they're called defined centres. And then the white spaces are called undefined centres. So what you are emitting energetically is through these defined centres all of the time. So what you will most likely call in, Alan, are people that have the bits that you don't. Okay, so you'll probably call in, because the human design is looking for completion. Now, you're also, these arrows here at the top of the chart, they also have got lots of different meanings. And this shows me just at first look that they're all left, so you're basically left quad, so you're all about, no surprise as an engineer, you're all about structure, about routine, about making sure that everything has its place and everything has an order and there's a plan. And you're also a 3-5, so this number here at the top, this is your profile, 3-5. Now these are your personality traits. So I'll go through. So Claire's a 3-5 as well. So there are 6 profile lines, and I'll just explain very briefly about them. The first number, 3, is how you see yourself. And the second number is how the world sees you. But as you get older and as you learn more about life and as you do more personal development, you're basically traveling from this personality side to the design side in this lifetime. This is your soul growth in this lifetime. So a 1 energy, so I'm a 1 energy. So a 1 energy is called the investigator. And the 1 energy is all about knowing how the ins and outs of something that light you up work. So if something lights us up, like human design did for me, it's no good just to know the headlines. I need to go in deep. So I'm asked questions. I find out about how it works. I need to know how, why, where, when. So if you're working with a 1 energy, or you're selling to a 1 energy, or you are, from a relationship point of view, they're asking questions, not because they're nosy, but they're built that way. Right. So my daughter will say, Mum, most people say, did you have a good night? I say, did you have a good night? Who was there? What did you eat? Like, she's going, shut up. So that's the 1 energy. The 2 energy is called the hermit. And the 2 energies are intuitive geniuses. They come to this earth knowing lots of stuff that they don't really know how they know. They just do. They also need time on their own as well to contemplate that brilliance. So the 2 energy has got this brilliance going on, but they also need some time on their own, that hermit time. Now the 3 energy, so you and Claire are both 3 energies. The 3 energy is called the martyr, which is a rubbish name, but basically the martyr lives life to the max by trying it all on. So that's how you learn. We'll try it. We'll try all the drinks, we'll drive all the cars, we'll wear all the shoes, we'll do all of the things, and we will do it. And that's how we find out what we're good at or what we like in life. We try everything first. They're really good at failing forward, like bouncing back when something hasn't worked is really normal for a 3 energy. It's how they learn. And then you've got the 4 energy, which is all about connection and about family, and the value of their life is correlated by the quality of the relationships in that life. So 4 energy is about community and family. The 5 energy, which you are as well, all 3 of us have got a 5 energy. So we're here to share a message with the world. Okay, so yours is obviously a relationship point of view, Alan. Claire's and ours is from a well-being point of view and a emotional well-being and performance point of view, but we have a message that's bigger than us. Okay, the thing with the 5 energy is, excuse me, we can be projected upon because we have save the day energy, because we are the people that are called when there's a problem, because we can solve it. What then happens is everyone comes to us and says, oh, give it to Jules, she can do that, or give it to Alan, he can do that. And what happens there is we say yes to things that don't light us up and end up burnt out. Excuse me. Does that resonate with you, Alan?
It does, yeah.
Cool. And then you've got the 6, who's the role model. And the 6 energy lives their first 30 years as a 3. So living life and trying it all on. And then between 30 and 50, they turn that learning into real knowledge and wisdom. And then from 50 beyond, they become the role model and share their knowledge as the leaders and the seers and the all-see eye. So those things are really, really important as well. Now, the interesting thing with you, Alan, is that Hannah is also a projector, and she's also a 3-5.
Do you want me to push that up?
So is that why I kind of understand her better than anyone else she's ever met before?
Why you can understand her.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. So one of the challenges is, from a healthy point of view, with you both being projectors, is that you can have this real deep understanding of one another and how each other operate, because you understand what it's like to be a projector, and that's pretty unique. However, there's also from a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to make it a negative word. To be aware of, there can be codependency there, because you believe that no one else will ever understand you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So where you've got here, so Hannah has got this defined ajna, which means that she has got fixed set of she's very fixed in her opinions and points of view, whereas you're more open-minded.
Definitely.
Because you're open there. She also has this root energy, which means that she's got the kickstart energy. She'll say, come on, Alan, let's do this. She'll maybe want to do stuff and that you might not necessarily want to do, or you might not necessarily have the energy for. Okay.
Yeah.
You both make decisions based on your emotions, which is good, but you also must wait 24 hours to make a big decision to make sure it still feels good. Hannah doesn't have access to willpower and motivation all of the time. She's completely open in that center. She will have it at times when the moon is within those gates, but she doesn't have it all the time. And what's really, really important for Hannah is that the thing is with projectors, you don't create your own energy. You transmute the energy that's already there. So when you're tired and you need to rest, that's really, really important. Hannah's open here in the ego center and in the spleen, and that means that she may have a less robust immune system than you. And also, so for me, I would say to her that looking after herself, looking after her energy banks, because you can only withdraw from this energy bank so often. It's like a bank account. You can't go overdrawn in it. You'll end up burnt out. So for me, this says to me that Hannah really needs to be mindful about where she uses her energy, where she utilizes it, what she says yes to, what she puts the energy that she does have into, and to really look after herself holistically, make sure she's looking after her immune system, because that is massively important. She's also massively, she's got intuitive.
Oh, very much so.
So Hannah could walk into a room and go, I don't like it in here. And you could go, don't be so bloody ridiculous. And but it would be energetically correct for Hannah to turn on her heel and say, no, I don't feel comfortable here, I'm leaving. Because she absorbs that energy. Okay. So that's really important. Now you need to eat at regular intervals. Right, because you're about structure and routine. Hannah doesn't. So again, that's quite important. And we were all brought up to sit at the table when we were in the 70s. Sit at the table and you eat your dinner at the right time and you don't leave the table until it's done, and da-da-da-da-da, condition. Hannah will eat when she's hungry or when she needs to eat.
Normally after she's hungry, and then starts feeling hangry, and then she'll have something to eat. And then she'll be like, oh, I feel better for eating, almost on a daily basis.
But you might say, well, you should eat regularly. And there we go. I said should. We don't should anything. She eats when she wants to eat. So that's that. And then here, it's all, I don't know what job Hannah does, but it's energetically correct for her to basically just check into lots of different environments rather than going to the same place all of the time.
She's a physics teacher.
Oh, crikey. Okay, so she might have different. So, is she a happy physics teacher?
It depends on the kids, I think.
Well, there you go. So again, it's having that understanding. So they're the main differences, I guess.
Just looking at Jules, can you explain the arrows at the top? Because I know Alan's were all to the left, weren't they?
Yeah, so that's what we're just saying. So the top one is about how you learn and how you take in information. So Alan, and how you digest food and information. So Alan's very structured. So the school system may have worked well for Alan in terms of the learning side of things. But for Hannah, it's more like she doesn't need to be sat in a classroom to be able to learn. She could be sat under a tree in the garden. She could maybe be running with her iPad or whatever it is. It's more the right hand arrows are more about feelings and about it's more of a feeling rather than a structure. Yeah, it's more of a creative energy. And the one below is about environment. So for Alan, he's the observed rather than the observer. So him hosting his own podcast is absolutely energetically correct, rather than being a guest on a podcast necessarily, because he's about being the observed, whereas Hannah is the observer. So she could just go and take her inspiration from lots of different areas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So does that answer your question? So you've got a defined ego. So when you're together, then this ego, she'll get that energy from you, and also has the spleen here. So when you're actually all together, the only centers that aren't defined are obviously the sacral, because you don't have sacral energy. That's just for manifestors and manifesting generators and generators, and the head center. Okay, so this means that a defined head center, there's only 30% of us. They basically got inspiration and ideas all of the time. Yours will come to you randomly. Yeah. And that's absolutely energetically correct. So not to be able to force it. And then all of these numbers down the side mean lots of different things, but it would take me about a year to explain them all to you in one session. But it's interesting for sure. And we had a client before who was very interested in the dating element of this, how this would work in dating, and it might be worth you spending some time looking at that, Alan, because it would be really, really interesting how people could really hone in on what it is they want and what they're looking for based on design. Be a great experiment.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know attachment styles play a massive effect on how you show up in a relationship, as do your personality traits, and as well as the masculine and feminine energies. And then there's all the conditioning on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
no, the conditioning is underneath.
Not surprising,
right?
It's a minefield.
The conditioning is underneath. And again, just being open to the fact, which you'll be better at because you've got an open ajna. So having the open ajna, you can see 5 sides to every argument. Whereas people with a defined ajna, like myself and Hannah, we've got a fixed idea of our points of view and our opinions. And it would take, for me, being a 1 energy, I need the proof to change my mind. Hannah would need to try it out because she's a 3 energy to change her mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, regularly have interesting conversations. Well, not just about the school system, because we do view that slightly differently, but also when it comes to our ex-partners, that neither of us were in a marriage we should have been in or aligned in any way, shape or form. But the challenges that come out of that and having children with them. So it is useful being able to bounce ideas off each other and say, well, how do you think that might come across, or what do you think that the ex for whichever one might be thinking to come up with such a stupid idea.
Yeah, and understanding their design as well, and how best to communicate with them, because is you know what they're looking for. Like if they were a 1 energy, they want to know the dates, the times, they want to know the detail. If they're a 2 energy, they don't need any of that. So, there's lots of different ways that you can use this. And like we said before,
Yeah.
even for your children, Alan, massively, really, really helpful for parenting. Massively helpful.
And again, it's
definitely.
like all the other frameworks out there, and there's personality profiles, the love languages, and it's the science of the aura, and it's about energy and energetic connection, and it's about embracing individuality, and to really embrace that we are all different and we've all got gifts and we've all got potential. And the way that we teach and we use it within our coaching and mentoring is around, yes, conditioning is something that's conditioned us, but that's okay because there's wisdom in that. There's wisdom that you've actually got learned behavior in that, and you can still learn from that and take that forward with you into your life, but embracing what you really want as a soul, as a human being, and know that you can start to say yes to stuff that lights you up and start saying no to the things that don't, and literally put some boundaries in place so that you are clear with people about what you want in life. And when you're coming into life with energy and you're loving what you do and you love the work that you do, you're really connected to the people that you're working with, that's then that energy is there to produce amazing work. So for me as a generator, I have copious amounts of energy all of the time coming from the sacral, but if I start saying yes to things that I don't really want to do because I'm scared of what people will think, or because I should or feel like obliged to, and I don't really want to do it, then I'm not going to bring that energy to the party. So people are going to feel it and go, she doesn't really want to do this. She doesn't want to be here. She doesn't. So it's like, I want to say yes to the things that light me up, because when I'm lit up, magnetically, I'm giving energy to other people who haven't got as much energy as me as a generator. So that, I know, Jules, just explain your analogy around how we're here to shine in the overcoat, because I think that's such a good analogy to use.
So for me, I see this side of the aura. Imagine yourself standing in a space with a big glass dome, like the posh candles in Selfridges, so they have a glass dome on. Imagine you've got your own glass dome that's like 6 meters around you, and all of those defined services that you've got are there shining, right? Shining like Bilio all of the time. And everything that's in your space in the world is energy that's with you. So that my dad's at the moment, I'm quite proud actually, she's quite faggot today, but sometimes it's a shitstorm, and that's in my energetic dome. But also our thoughts, our feelings, all of the things that we say yes to, that we mean no to, are also all in there. All of the people that are in our life that are dreaming the living daylights out of us, they're in there. And I imagine it like everything that you don't want in there is like someone throwing an overcoat over your shiny beacons. And how can you shine in the world if you're covered with all these overcoats? So our job is to keep those overcoats out, literally throw them out, and just be really mindful about what you're saying yes to. Like literally anything. Like this morning I went into the kitchen and someone left something on the side, and I'm thinking, that's in my space, move it. Because just be really intentional about what you're letting in, and that makes you, and it makes me anyway, start thinking, actually, no, if that's full up of all stuff that you don't really want, there's no room for the good stuff to come. So the more that you can shine, the more that you can be the beacon, the lighthouse for all of the good stuff, it can be no other way. You have to make room for it to come in.
So are there any one of the designs that struggle with setting boundaries the most?
5 energy, because for me, so from my perspective, the 5 energy manifestors are like have good boundaries generally because they make the rules. They're not here to be told. But 5 energies are very easily projected upon because they do have the answer. They have got the same today energy. So if there are 5, that your boundaries are going to could be be anyone, but the fives have to be very careful with their boundaries.
Well, we're all fives, aren't we?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
know I had to work on mine. And I've also got an open emotional soul plexus that I do feel for other people. So sometimes I really have to check in about whether it lets me obviously polarized and I know that certain things are not my feelings, they're other people's, so I really have to protect that. But yeah, I don't think there's been any studies on that, but yeah, that very sensitive energy issue.
Interesting. Slightly different question here. When it comes to human design and all the talk these days of people being born in the wrong body, is that actually a thing? Because to me, human design doesn't feel like any of it is specific to one physical gender, and neither are the masculine and feminine energies.
I think as humans, we're a mixture of both. The only difference is the physical that changes, and I don't. For personally, I don't feel like human design is gender specific. It's about energy. So again, it's about what feels right.
It's the physical body, isn't it? The physical body is a vessel for the soul to live in. I know some people you are going to get the spiritual realms because we're talking about energy, but we are a soul that lives in a body, and this is just a vessel that we live in. And does it really matter what that vessel looks like or identifies as? It's about the energy. So human design does encompass masculine and feminine energy as well as universal energy. So I just think if we lived and listened to our soul and our heart and the emotional side, checking in with how the whole body feels, we'd be living in more alignment or satisfaction or peace or joy, because there's different self-themes. So for me and Jules are, when we know that we're in alignment, we feel satisfied. For you, I think it's peace, success. Projectors, isn't it? You feel there's a whatever success looks like to you, but when you feel like you've had a really good day, it's that feeling of success. And if you feel like you're out of alignment, it's the feeling of bitterness, where for us it's a feeling of frustration. So if I feel frustrated with something, I'll put myself, it's having that awareness to kick in. You know, why is this situation frustrating me? What's going on? Let me check in with that, because I want to get back into the flow again. So when you recognise you're not self-y, you're not really interested, so that helps you move back to what should I stop saying no to and start saying yes to, if that makes sense. But it's deep. It's not just, oh, I'm a generator and I'm a projector and that's it. There's so many different layers. That's why we've got a free report that gives you a detailed, overview of what your design is. And then obviously you can get the full report, which is like a 60-page report or review as an investment, and that's what we use in the work that we do. So it is fascinating, and we're working with 7 people at the minute to take them through the human design accreditation, and they love it. All people are like, oh my god, this is like so deep, they're loving it because they're really starting to understand their own design, so that they can operate that in their life and business, but also really understanding it for the families. So that's a good journey, but it's absolutely fascinating. It's the best thing that I've ever discovered in the 21 years I've been in personal development.
I've just put the link for the free chart in the chat.
Excellent. I'll stick that down in the show notes as well. So if anyone's listening or watching to this and they would like to reach out and learn more about human design, or just have a general conversation, where's the best place for them to find you?
So they can find us at www.spaceandfreedom.com as A&D rather than the ampersand, spaceandfreedom.com. We are on Instagram. So we are Space and Freedom.
We are Space and Freedom.
And
LinkedIn,
TikTok.
TikTok. That's our podcast. Can we just podcast on TikTok? But we talk about the same thing. And LinkedIn, Facebook, Claire Morton and Jules Kite. But we've got obviously all of our details on our website so that people can find us from there, in our Facebook group as well.
Excellent. So, final question, and it's a question that I ask everybody, but don't prime them for it. And the question is, as this podcast is called Relationship Revolutions, if there was one thing that would bring a revolution or evolution to the world of dating and relationships, in your opinion, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, human design. Well, okay, just understanding yourself and then understanding others, because it's the whole thing around embracing individuality and to just know that we're all different, and it's enjoyable to find out about yourself and find out about other people. So yeah, that's the understanding and embracing individuality.
That was absolutely the same. Without judgment, I still think we're not judgment. So self-awareness, absolutely key, but awareness of other people and human design as a vehicle for that is ideal. But again, understand people have got different past, different experience, different DNA, and it's absolutely, there's depth in them.
Excellent. Well, it's been an honour and a pleasure having you on to talk about human designs and all sorts of other things. And I look forward to seeing you either in the online space somewhere at Circle Networks or even Circle Networks Live next year. This year.
Thank you, Alan.
No problem at all.
Thank you for listening. And if you haven't already, please leave me a review on your preferred podcast platform. Click the like button and also subscribe so that you get the new episode notifications. I'm curious, what did you take away from this episode? Please share your takeaways with me. Send me an email to relationship-revolutions@theloveengineer.rocks.